Well, today's question comes from Robin Clark, and Robin says, what are the main differences between concert, tenor and soprano, and are there reasons to choose one over the other? Okay, well, as you can see, I have one of each on the sofa behind me, so let's make some comparisons between these three sizes of instrument. Okay, here's a soprano. It's small and light, which means it's absolutely the first choice for children because it's manageable for smaller hands. But the fact that it is manageable for children sometimes leads people to mistakenly believe that it's not intended for adults. And actually, that's quite wrong. Traditionally, the standard size is the soprano. It's the most popular and commonly found ukulele out there. The fact that it's small and easy to handle means that advanced players can really whiz around the fingerboard and reach chords that they might not manage to reach on a bigger uke. Why is it called soprano? Well, sopra, of course, means above, and that reflects the fact that you can tune it higher if you wish than the bigger ukes because the strings are a little shorter. They will stand tunings like A, D, F sharp B and beyond. And for many people, the bright sound the little soprano uke makes is the quintessential ukulele sound. Okay, here's the concert uke, and this slightly bigger size acquired the name concert many years ago because the thinking was that the extra size leads to extra volume, and that is beneficial for it to be heard in a performance setting, in concert with other instruments perhaps, and trying to project to an audience rather than playing for your own pleasure. And indeed, it does have a slightly bigger and deeper sound than the soprano. Having said that, of course, in most performance settings today, you would very likely be playing either into a microphone or even using an instrument with a pickup like this one. So it's not necessary to have a concert uke to play a concert. With the extra size comes a little extra weight, but it's still a fairly comfortable uke for most adults and sounds great in C tuning, which is considered the standard tuning these days. Very popular amongst ukulele club players. Okay, here's the tenor. Now, the tenor is a step bigger again. Tenor, of course, literally means strong, and this size of uke does have a louder voice again. And it's quite noticeable when you pick up one of these that it's a larger, heavier instrument to deal with. And in fact, the majority of people who play a tenor uke use a strap to hold it, which might be thought of as a bit of a disadvantage because it's not necessary with a soprano. You hardly ever see a soprano player using a strap, whereas with a concert, it's about 50-50, but a tenor really does feel considerably larger, and this is one reason that guitarists are very fond of the tenor size uke. People who switch over to the uke from the guitar sometimes feel more at home on a tenor because the finger spacings are that little bit closer to guitar size. But really, whatever size you go for, you will have to get accustomed to it, and after a few good practice sessions, you should soon stop noticing the difference very much. Sometimes people with particularly large hands opt for the tenor, but having said that, I do know people with big hands who have absolutely no problem being accurate on the smaller size ukes as well. Most adults should find their way around any of these three sizes. Now, Robin's question only mentioned these three sizes, but we could go a step closer to the guitar again, and that would be the baritone uke, which is quite a bit bigger still and tuned lower. But actually, those are comparatively rare. Most people who switch from the guitar to the uke do so because they want a different instrument, and really the baritone uke is so close to the guitar that it doesn't feel like that much of a change. So they're a bit less common. So there you have it. The quintessential character of the ukulele is distilled in the soprano, the little light portable fun instrument with the bright sweet sound, and you can take gradual steps towards the guitar end of the spectrum as you wish. There's no right or wrong choice, it's purely a matter of taste. Welcome back to the Octopus Ukulele Academy, and today's question comes from Claudio in Finland. Good to hear from Finland. I had a great time over there. Wonderful ukulele scene. Andy, I've been reading a lot lately about ukuleles made from different materials and woods. Does the material a ukulele is made of make a big difference to the sound, and is there a material that sounds the best? Well, I'll give you my thoughts. There are three categories of materials to discuss: solid wood, laminate and synthetics like plastic. The very best ukes are solid wood, and that's what all the top players favour to get the best possible sound. Laminate and synthetic ukes are an attempt to imitate the sound of real wood, but with other considerations taken into account, such as affordability and sturdiness. Plastic ukes weren't introduced with the intention of making a better sound. They were intended to be cheap and less susceptible to humidity and rough treatment, but we're focusing on the sound. So, why does a top quality solid wood uke sound better than a laminate? Well, the job of the uke's body, particularly the top surface or soundboard, is to vibrate and to transmit vibrations, and the right kind of timber does that very well. In the case of laminate, several thin layers of wood are bonded together, so although it's a very strong construction, it actually inhibits the vibration. So while laminate is resilient, it's also less responsive. Does this mean that a solid wood uke is automatically better than a laminate? No, definitely not. A thoughtfully designed, carefully made laminate uke can sound better than a low quality solid wood uke. Some very good results come about from the cost-effective compromise of a solid wood top with laminate back and sides. The top is the most important part in creating the initial sound because it receives the vibrations from the bridge, whilst the back and the sides sort of reflect the sound and add colour to it. But what I'm saying is that if it's skillfully designed and crafted, solid wood has the potential to give the very best tone quality. Now, having established that, the question is, of course, what kind of wood? Well, we're getting into subjective territory because one person might listen to a uke and say, that's the best sound I've ever heard, while someone else might say, no, I prefer this one. So it's a tricky subject. I've played hundreds of ukes over the years, but I can't claim to have compared them scientifically, and nor have many other people. There is a lot of mythology out there. Some people will claim to know a lot about this topic, but in reality, they're just basing their opinions on the comparison of a couple of individual instruments. And the thing is, you can take two pieces of wood from the same tree and they will give different sounds. Likewise, you can take two ukes of the very same model and they'll sound different from each other. There are a lot of variables in play besides the species of the tree. There's the climate where it grew, how the wood was seasoned, and then there's the thickness, the finish, the bracing, the strings. And when it comes to the sound, there's not only the question of personal taste, but also what purpose are you going to put the instrument to? Are you strumming or fingerpicking? Are you performing on stage or just at home? Are you going to be amplified or not? All these things will influence the choice of material because different woods do have different characteristics. Now, the most qualified people to make these comparisons are probably those who work in ukulele shops and have an awful lot of ukes passing through their hands. But I'll try and make a few observations. The classic traditional woods of some of the most revered ukuleles are koa and mahogany. Mahogany is very light but strong. It gives wonderful projection and volume and a very even tone. It has a smooth sound, but it really rings. Koa is a beautiful looking wood. It's a little bit softer in tone, but with a lovely warmth to it. Koa is a very rare wood actually. It only grows in Hawaii. It is often noted that it's a member of the acacia family, but acacia is a vast classification of woods, so don't assume that they're all the same because they're not. However, acacia of other types can be very successful too. Recently, spruce has become more popular as people have gravitated towards the ukulele from the world of the guitar. Spruce is traditionally used for the top of a guitar. So how does spruce work on a uke? Well, a spruce top gives a loud tone. There's a real bite to the attack, generally favoured by finger pickers. Can be a little too harsh and in your face for a strummer. It works well combined with sides and back made of maple or a fruit wood such as walnut, mango, cherry or whatever. And these woods are very good for soundboards too and are well thought of. Cedar is also becoming more popular for tops. It's similar to spruce but a little bit softer sounding, which some people prefer. So we can make a few generalisations, but when you start to review the available woods, you quickly see that the species of wood itself is not necessarily the criterion on which you should base your purchase. It's an unnecessary prejudice actually. There are too many other factors that influence the sound, like the details of the design, the strings, the individual piece of timber. So the best thing to do is decide what sound you want from a uke to suit your personal taste and style, and then look around you to see what models other people are having success with as a clue to finding the right uke for you. Keep sending those questions in. I'll see you soon.